At 82, I've learned so much about life, but there's one decision I deeply regret: moving into a nursing home. At the time, it seemed like the best choice. My family supported it, assuring me I'd have all the care and comfort I needed. I trusted them, but once I was there, the reality hit hard. I know some of you might be considering this option for yourself or a loved one. Maybe you think it's the safest choice, or maybe someone has told you it will make life easier. But before you make that move, I want to share 6 things I wish I had known beforehand. Because the truth is, life in a nursing home isn't just about convenience. It changes everything, and getting out isn't as easy as it seems. Stay with me till the end. Some of these lessons might surprise you. And if you know someone thinking about a nursing home, this video could be just what they need to hear before making such a life-changing decision. Let's dive in. Being alone doesn't mean being powerless. Preparation and calm, informed action can truly save your life. Keep aspirin accessible. Set up your phone's medical ID. Practice breathing. The goal is not just to react, but to be ready. Regret 1: losing my independence. The biggest shock when I moved into the nursing home wasn't the small room or the rigid meal times. It was the realization that I lost control over my life. Before moving, I had routines: when to wake up, when to eat, how to spend my day. I could take a walk, cook meals, or just relax with a book in my favorite chair. But in the nursing home, everything ran on a schedule that wasn't mine. Meals were at set times, even if I wasn't hungry. Lights out happened at a certain hour, whether I was ready or not. Want to take a walk? You might need permission and wait for someone to help. Even simple things like choosing what to eat or wear felt like privileges instead of everyday decisions. I remember waking up in my new bed, realizing it wasn't mine. I reached for my book, but when I looked around, I saw only stereo walls and a bed I hadn't chosen. I wasn't in control anymore. Once you give up your independence, getting it back is incredibly difficult. You adapt, but in doing so, you start losing yourself. If you're thinking about a nursing home, ask yourself, are you ready to give up the small freedoms that make life yours? Because once they're gone, you'll miss them more than you ever imagined. Regret 2: feeling forgotten. One of the hardest things to face after moving into a nursing home was realizing that life outside continued without me. At first, my family promised they would visit often, and they did. But as the months went by, those visits became less frequent. My daughter started calling instead of visiting, and my grandchildren got busier. Holidays were the hardest. Everyone promised to come, but somehow the plans always fell through. Soon, I found myself sitting in a common room, watching other residents hoping someone would remember them. It wasn't that my family stopped loving me, life just got in the way. When you're not physically present, it's easy for others to assume you're fine and adjusting. But the truth is, the longer you stay in a nursing home, the easier it is for people to forget just how much you need them. I remember debating whether to call my son. I didn't want to be a burden, so I put the phone down. That's when it hit me. This was my life now, waiting for visits that might never come. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, are you ready for the loneliness? No matter how much your family loves you, once you're out of sight, it's easy to become out of mind. Regret 3: losing my sense of purpose. When I moved into the nursing home, I thought I was just changing my living space, but I quickly realized I was also losing my sense of purpose. At home, I had routines, responsibilities, hobbies, things that gave my day meaning. Even simple things like watering plants, making coffee, or tidying up my space kept me going. But in the nursing home, these small rituals disappeared. Meals were prepared for me, cleaning was done by someone else, and the plants weren't mine to care for anymore. At first, I told myself it would be nice to rest. No chores, no responsibilities, just relaxation. But after a few weeks, I realized something was missing. Time stretched out with nothing to do but wait. I noticed the same in other residents too. George, an 84-year-old former carpenter, had always been busy with little projects at home. But here, there were no tools, no projects, nothing for him to create. He felt useless, and I understood exactly what he meant. When you don't have something to care for, life starts losing its meaning. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, what gives your life meaning? It's not just about filling time. It's about holding on to the things that keep you feeling alive. Regret 4. Declining health faster than expected. Before I moved into the nursing home, I was doing well for my age. I wasn't running marathons, but I could take care of myself, go for walks, and cook meals. I had routines that kept me active, like grocery shopping and stretching in the mornings. But once I moved in, everything changed. At first, it seemed like a break. Meals brought to me, help available whenever I needed it. But what I didn't realize was that the less I did for myself, the weaker I became. My muscles stiffened, and before long, getting up from a chair felt like a struggle. I saw it happen to others too. People who walked independently now relied on wheelchairs. I remember Alice, an 81-year-old woman who was full of life when she arrived. She walked every day, determined not to slow down with age. But soon, she started using a walker, then a wheelchair. She told me, "I feel like I've aged 10 years in just a few months." It felt like that for all of us. In a nursing home, everything is designed to make life easier, but you forget that movement isn't just about convenience, it's about survival. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, will you still have the motivation to stay active when everything is made easier for you? Because once you stop moving, it's harder to get back up. Regret 5. Losing privacy and dignity. One thing I didn't fully understand before moving in was how much privacy I would lose. At home, I had my own space. I could close the door, sit in silence, and do things on my own terms. But in the nursing home, privacy becomes a luxury you don't always get to keep. From the moment I arrived, I felt like I was being watched constantly. Staff in and out, scheduled checks, and shared spaces. There was rarely a moment alone. Simple tasks, like getting dressed or using the bathroom, often needed assistance. I struggled with this loss of independence, especially when I had to ask for help with things I'd always done myself. Even meals had their limits. If you didn't like the menu that day, too bad. And not everyone gets a private room. I was lucky to have a kind roommate, but some weren't so lucky. There were people with cognitive issues, loud roommates, and even unclean conditions. I didn't realize how much dignity I'd lose until I was there. When you're treated like a patient, not a person, and your routines are dictated by someone else, it changes you. You start feeling less like yourself and more like just another name on a list. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, are you ready to give up the privacy and control you've had your entire life? Once it's gone, it's hard to get back. Regret 6. Realizing it's harder to leave than you think. When I first moved in, I told myself it was just temporary. If I didn't like it, I could always leave. But I didn't realize how difficult it would be to leave once I settled in. At first, the idea of returning home seemed simple enough. But my house had been left empty for months, and my kids had already started selling things and making changes. When I brought up the idea of moving back, they hesitated. Are you sure you can manage on your own? Wouldn't it be safer to stay? There was also the reality of my physical decline. After months of not doing anything for myself, I wasn't as strong as I used to be. The thought of managing on my own at home felt overwhelming. I wasn't alone in this. Many others thought they could leave whenever they wanted, only to find out that once they were there, leaving was no longer an option. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, are you prepared for the possibility that leaving may not be as easy as you think? Because once you settle in, the barriers to leaving, whether financial, physical, or emotional, become much harder to overcome. Final thoughts. Looking back, I don't regret growing older, but I do regret thinking that a nursing home was my only choice. I walked in expecting comfort, safety, and a better quality of life, but instead, I found a world that slowly took away my independence, privacy, purpose, and sense of self. Does that mean nursing homes are all bad? Not necessarily. Some people truly need the level of care they provide. But before making that decision, think carefully about what you're giving up, because once you move in, life will never be the same. If I could do it over, I would have fought harder to stay in my own home, explored more options for help, and made sure I really needed to move before making such a permanent change. If you're facing this decision, I hope you'll ask yourself, is this really what's best for me, or just the easiest choice right now? The life you have today, the routines, your independence, your choices, it's worth holding onto for as long as possible.